pretty grateful.
Yes. Oh, no, you're great. We're going to have a lot of fun tonight, too. Yes, Jimmy, y'all can hear that, right? Y'all hear the music playing in the background? Okay. I'm just making sure they're hearing us. Y'all can hear us and the music. That's what you're supposed to. Well, I haven't cranked the music up. We're just letting Rat in the Cage play. God.
I can hear you. I can't hear any music, though.
Why can't you hear the music? I know why you can't hear the music. Because you can't hear the music and they can't either. Only I can hear. I was jamming out, man. That's because this is what's supposed to be playing. Good thing somebody's doing their job around here, huh? No, what the hell? Okay, people. Now remember, if I play this, get your asses out and vote. I know where each and every one of y'all live. I've done hacked all your IP addresses now. So get your asses out and vote. Or I'm going to send you some funny surprises.
Time for you to get out and nominate your favorite podcast. There are 4 amazing shows I want you to consider for the People's Choice Podcast Awards, the longest-running premier awards event in the podcasting space, open to shows worldwide. Vote at podcastawards.com to nominate the following shows. Writers and Illustrators of the Future podcast in 3 categories: education, storyteller drama, and art. For 4 years, the Writers and Illustrators of the Future podcast has provided advice and tips from international best-selling authors, world-class artists, contest judges and winners, and industry professionals. It is dedicated to the future of storytelling and art.
Oh, that's
by
John.
showing
Yeah,
that
I
it's
know
never
that.
too late
I know
to
that
start,
guy.
and those who make it
He thinks
are
he's
those
handsome.
who
I tell
never
him all
give
the
up.
time, you know.
News on the flip side, in the category of politics and news. News on the flip
That's
side
our Friday
is a much
night show.
different
That's where we
news
get
and
in
political
real
program, which is not deemed as
Unless
opinion
John
news.
says that we behave ourselves.
Listen as Joe Montaldo brings to you just the facts
Yeah, I'll
and
just put
trusted
every
sources,
scary bastard
which
picture
will allow
you can
you,
find of
the
me.
people, to make up your own minds on the various stories being reported on.
UFO Undercover in the
Oh, I
category
forgot to
of
host this show.
entertainment. UFO Undercover brings you some of the most revealing and current research that is being done with respect to alien abductions and
Yes,
contact.
now the government wants me
Host
to
Joe
come work for
Montaldo
them.
has been an abduction researcher for over 35 years
It's
and is
ridiculous. No, I'm
uniquely
serious.
qualified to
I've
bring
been
you
offered
live
to be
interviews with some of the
You
most
look so
well-known
serious in that
researchers
picture.
in ufology.
You look
The Outer
good, but
Realm,
man, you look
in the
serious.
category of best
Here
female
comes
hosted
my 2
podcast.
favorite females on my
The Outer
network.
Realm is a very popular
Michelle
show
DeRoche,
hosted
the
by
one on the
Michelle
left is my
DeRoche
manager.
and Amelia
Yes.
Pisano, which
I
boasts
love her to
millions
death,
of
I'm saying.
listeners each
The
week,
one on the
who are
right
well known
is
for and
Amelia
have been
Pisano.
complimented
She's
on their
very
very
much
laid-back,
They're
roundtable
actually
style of
great,
interviewing.
And,
Together, this dynamic duo brings you
they'll
the
be
best of
following
the
us
best
tonight, actually.
with guests from around the world who are well versed within their respective fields of ufology, paranormal, esoteric, and other areas of high strangeness and more.
Go to podcastawards.com to vote for these 4 shows and any others you enjoy listening to. That's podcastawards.com.
Dun, 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 dun. All right. See, now y'all all know that was. So usually I just get Emily's voice. On the past years, we just got Emily's voice, which is Emily Goodwin, ladies and gentlemen. But John and Emily were in it together this year. We've had 5 shows up for the last 4 years in a row. I have got honorable mention on both my shows for the last 3 years, and actually last 4 years in a row. And it's killing me, people. I don't like losing. The guy said, we got honorable mention. That's like second place. Like, but what second place? I said, do you ever remember anybody comes in second place? No. I want to win. So people, I'm telling you, I'm serious. Y'all want to hear me moaning, bitch, like I did all last year? Then don't let us win. And I'll be crying and moaning and griping. Y'all know I host 3 different shows, and I guest on a lot of shows around the country and in my own network. So vote. I mean, we made it. We did well. I mean, there was 5 million people voted last year. We did really well. There was 12 people in our category. So I mean, we did good. We just didn't get that. How many other votes we needed? Don't make me threaten y'all. Okay, I do know witchcraft. Do not make me put the voodoo. Actually, I know voodoo. I put the voodoo on your ass.
Yeah, voodoo would be more effective, I think.
Yes. So get out and vote. Or when I go out to the swamp this weekend, well, not this weekend, but a couple weekends from now, I'm going to put the hoodoo voodoo on y'all. We're actually waiting for Eric Lamb. I'm going to send him another invite because I don't know what happened to our good friend Larry. Larry is a very interesting gentleman. Before I even introduce everybody, because we still got to play Rat in the Cage, but Larry's just a very interesting gentleman. he's got some of the best stories I've ever heard. I gotta
Right?
say, man.
I agree.
Him and I sat and got loaded up. Him and I and Tom Wood, by the way, sat and got loaded up.
Nice.
and,
What a
and
time.
and you know I like to talk. And
Mhm.
so does Tom, really. Oh, no, we were quiet the whole night and just let Larry. He's got the best stories I've ever heard, man. They're
Mhm.
just great people. Y'all get to hear some of them. If we get him on, y'all get to hear some of them. Let me email him right quick. Let's see. Let's just do it the easy way.
Should we message him? Like direct message?
Well, Karma's talking to him. Carmen's talking. I keep calling Karma, but Carmen's talking to him because he keeps texting me.
Mhm.
So let's try this one more time. Let's go copy the pretty little link and click, and away we go. I know, Jeffrey, you're not used to when people aren't where they're supposed. I know. Stop it. Why don't y'all go get in the chat room where April can see y'all? Okay, or one of the 8 chat rooms we have. Why don't y'all go get one of them? Well, they like to gang up. Well, this crowd comes with me from way back on Yahoo to Pal Talk, well, Fire Talk, then Pal Talk, and now here. And they like to get on Messenger and message the hell out of me.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, there's 11 messages open up asking who. I said, we're going to introduce the guest in a few minutes. Calm down. Technically, well, no, I can't edit it out because the promo's in it. Well, I can edit the show and put the promo in. Yes, Clara, you'll be able to ask questions in just a few minutes. Yes, April was one of the winners. That's why she's here. She's a lot of fun to talk to. She's an excellent artist, and we'll get all in that in a few minutes. Yes. Okay, let me play this little part of Rat in the Cage, and we'll start talking till Larry comes in. Okay, y'all gonna be nice now, right? Y'all know y'all love this kind of music. I don't know why y'all don't. You know, I've been looking for what I'm looking for this show, and for News on the Flip Side. We've been testing out new intros for the show. So what we do is we find out what we want to put, find a blank spot, and then add the show titles. And we've been testing them out. So this is one of them. It just seems a little. Maybe this should be for Friday night show, guys. What do y'all think? Let's see. Okay. You get to listen to Joe Montaldo talk for 2 hours. That's what you get, people. Oh, yeah, I like this. This might work. No, you know, we only do 20, 30 seconds, 40 seconds of it, because if we don't, YouTube has a heart attack. Anyway, they're just finicky these days. Technically, we're live now. We've just been playing around. We have April Solomon with us, and hopefully we'll have Larry Elmore in a little while. I just sent him another link, and he's working with Carmen to work it out. So hopefully we'll have him in a little while. And because Larry's a lot of fun. April's a lot of fun too. Don't get me wrong. At least she hung out with the big dogs. Not
right.
Scary people. We're not gonna mention no names, but there were some scary people this year. And it's no. There was only so the judges. Well, you know what? Stop. Let's do this correctly. April, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, Joe.
Why don't you tell the audience just a little bit about yourself, and then we'll get into the fun stuff.
Sure. So I've been an illustrator now professionally, truly professionally now for about 1.5 years. And so I recently went to the Laguna College of Art and Design. I took a 7-year term there, getting my bachelor's degree in illustration. And during that time, I definitely kind of cherry-picked my own courses and felt my way through the fine art department, but came out of that college with a degree in illustration. And more or less my entire human career has been evolved around creating and learning how to become just a better artist in general, and surrounding myself within a very, very heavily saturated artistic community. And this is really just my bread and butter for existing. I really don't know what I'd do if I couldn't draw or paint. And I certainly don't know what I could do if I couldn't find a way to support myself professionally. But my love and passion evolves around painting and drawing traditionally, mostly dragons, I'm
Yeah,
what you
she
call a
likes
dragon
dragons.
specialist.
She
Oh
likes
yeah,
dragons.
love dragons,
Must be
love
watching
werewolves,
Larry too
love.
much. That's what that is. um,
Yeah,
no, she's
it's
good.
a love of mine.
You'll see later on in this book right here. You'll see later on her picture for this year's in here. Oh no, this is the one. This is one for the story actually, right? The reveal.
Yeah.
So that's y'all will get to see it in a little while. No, it's in its autograph too. It's a. What do you mean? I like getting all my books autographed. So, look, I'm notorious for getting families to autograph books. Oh yeah, a lot of these books you see up here, a lot of the winners, just actually autographs from different family members. It depends. Like after the gala, a lot of times I'll be hanging around, sitting outside working press. So as the members are coming back, because the writers and illustrators are busy signing and selling, so they're busy. So, but a lot of times the families are milling around and stuff. So I'll catch up with them and talk to them about their children. When I say children, I don't mean like they're being child. I mean when they're children. Oh, anyway, that came out completely wrong. Oh wait, I see the great man down here.
Huh?
Oh,
Yeah,
look at this sexy bastard.
Hey.
Oh man, what are you doing? We love you, man.
I've been
Hey,
trying to get
Larry.
on 15 minutes.
Oh, we were gonna wait for you no matter what. So you didn't. I told Carmen, don't tell him, don't even rush yourself.
I'm old and I'm not a computer genius anymore.
Don't feel bad.
I had to call a friend up in Atlanta to get me hooked up to get me on, and I think he was having a homecoming or something. And
Oh
so
shit. It's, well, hey, you're here, so you look good. So next time you'll know how to get in. It's we switched over this a couple of years ago. We used to use the phone lines we used just phone lines forever,
okay.
but the audio quality was never as good as we was on Skype, and then Skype is just not as good as this. Plus, I get to see everybody's lovely face, and which sometimes can be scary. In case y'all didn't notice, ladies. These two are good looking, but sometimes we get some scary ones come on. The guy Tom Wood, he's kind of scary looking. And I just got to say, he's got, what's that, Jack? Oh, no. So this is the Larry I was talking about. No, you think of Larry Niven. No, this is Larry Owen. This is the one I was talking about. Yes.
I know Larry Niven.
Yes. So Larry.
I met him 2 or 3 times. That's all.
Yeah, I've met him 3 or 4 times. So last year, not this past 39, but 38, I was his escort. Don't ask. Just leave it alone. Don't ask. The year before that, he thought I was like the ninja come to kill him. I'm not kidding you. He was scared shitless of me. Every time I'd walk up to him, he'd go somewhere else. Or he'd get somebody, put him in front of us or between us. I'm like, I'm not here to eat you, nothing, dude. Calm down. Calm down. But then for book 38, at the gala, I was just kind of walking around with him. They just had me chaperoning him, I guess. But he was a lot of fun to talk to. He's got a lot of interesting stories. But, ladies and gentlemen, this is the infamous Larry Elmore. And this is the guy I was talking about, all the great stories he tells us. And I'm telling you.
I've been burning tree limbs piled up. So
oh shit!
Was that my wife got me out there, and I didn't know what time it was. I forgot all about this.
Yeah, well, it happens. Well, I was a little worried today because I've been out. My company. We were putting up some electrical. I'm not even going to say where, but anyway, we're putting up some new lighting for a company that we work for, and so this morning driving into New Orleans because I live out on the Gulf Coast. There was a big nasty wreck. I'm pretty sure one of the rigs, the drivers got killed. And
wow.
And then it was 8 miles in each direction. So it took 3 hours to get onto interstate, which was just a joy. I get in New Orleans, get everything done, all kind of crazy shit going on. I'm driving home this afternoon, and all of a sudden I see this black smoke bellowing over interstate. There's a car on the side of interstate just burning. God. Just and it takes like an hour to get through the traffic to get to the part of the interstate where I can get home. I was like, okay. Maybe I should take, if I didn't have jobs scheduled for the week, I'd take the rest of the week off, man. I told Michelle she got to get on it, so all I got to do is radio anymore. Because during COVID, that's all I had to do was radio. I loved it. It's and we were making good money, but COVID was a weird kind of thing that went on. Not just because of disease, but there's a lot of other stuff. So Larry, man, say hi to the audience and tell the audience just a little bit about yourself. We don't want to give you away because we're going to talk tonight, but. Just, kind of tell them, hi, I'm Larry, and wherever you want to go.
Okay. I'm Larry. I don't know where we're going, but we're going any direction you want to. I've been an illustrator for since 1972. So that's before most of them, I guess.
Yes.
I worked.
Not before me, but.
My first job, I was working at Fort Knox, Kentucky, which is about 45 miles from me. And when I got drafted in the Army, instead of going straight to Vietnam, I spent my first year at Fort Knox. And I guess they saw in my papers that I had an art degree, so I worked in a printing plant. I learned all about publishing, and I was illustrating Army manuals. That was a lot of fun. And then my second year in the Army, I was sent to Germany. And I love that because castles, I photographed castles, villages.
Yes,
And
it's beautiful there.
the thing about Fort Knox, I'm one of the few people you'll ever meet that's been inside the gold vault. And
I wish I could say that.
Nobody gets in there. I did a backdoor job for them. And they couldn't pay me or couldn't do anything. It had some art and stuff. And so my boss and I and a couple more that worked on the job, they took us like a week apart, only two at one time, and that was it. And there's the guy that was doing the tour, and a guy with a pistol as his holster unbuttoned, always about 5 feet away from us all the time. So
I know. Just do something, buddy. Just do something.
he just died to shoot, you know.
Oh yeah.
But no, that was a sort of a once in a lifetime experience. I mean, that's crazy.
But that's a crazy experience. I mean, I would love to be able to say I hung out.
I saw bars and bars of gold. So
Wow.
at that time, they also had the Polish crown jewels there for protection. I saw those. A lot of other stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Well, thank you, Samantha. Samantha just sent me videos of April. Well, that's so sweet. You gotta love online. People are just so nice sometimes, and sometimes they're just whacking crazy is what they are. But hey, I'm not. You know, I'm not. Yes, I am. I'm judging, but still.
From there, I got a job I started freelancing some, got some work heavy metal, National Lampoons, and TSR called me up. Dungeons and Dragons wanted to hire me. I said no 3 times. In fact, they flew down to my house, the president of the company, made me an offer I couldn't refuse. So I took off to Wisconsin, the cold north. And to me, it was like going to Alaska. But I lived there for 7 years, worked for them. And then Keith Parks and I went freelance from TSR. We stayed in Lake Geneva a year or so, and then I moved out to Kentucky, built a house, and been here ever since. Moved back to Kentucky in like 89, 90, something like that. 89, they built the house.
That's about when I was up there planting tobacco.
Yeah. I worked bad job, hard job.
Well, I had a friend of mine up there owned a big plantation. I'd come up in the summer sometimes. He's like, "Here, just sit here. Just all you gotta do is sit here and stick them in the thing." I'm like, "What?" He said, "Yeah, just sit here." So I'd be, "What am I doing?" So I'd just be taking little plants and dropping them in little things and watching them go into the ground. I'm like, "Okay, well."
There's a big wheel, and it would hold the plant and stick it in the ground. Just keep rotating.
And they had a seat on each side. So one of my friends was sitting over there. We'd be talking the whole entire time, and just planting plants. And then it was so funny because I'd come up there and just say, "Oh yeah." I was like, "Look, I wasn't doing nothing. He needed the help." And so he called me up one day. He goes, "Oh, I'm sending you some stuff. I get like 50 cases of tobacco and cigarettes and special blend cigars." So I'm like, "Dude, what do you want me to do? You know, I don't smoke that much." So they give me a freaking break. You're trying to kill me? He said, no. He said, "You give it to your friends." He said, "There's something. Look in the little box. There's something for you." Somebody sent me a check for $15,000. I'm like,
wow.
Plant tobacco. He said, "Well, donate it to somebody." He said, "I know you're gonna bitch about it." I'm like,
I would work all day long.
Yeah,
I would work in tobacco till it got too dry. Then I started hauling hay. They liked the dark for $5 a day. That was it. That was
Wow.
He told me. Yeah, I think he told me he paid his guys like it was either 25 cents or 50 cents a plant. And, I'm like, "How much money you make off of one plant? Somebody am I in the wrong line of work or something here?"
500, 600, 700 plants in a day, depending on how big the base is.
That's what I'm saying.
Wow.
And they did. I mean, he had a big, huge place up there. I bet you last time I heard him, he told me he was switching to growing marijuana. There was more money in it.
Well, there's probably a lot on that.
He's like, I'm like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah." He said
here in Kentucky has started doing that too.
Yeah. He's got he's got 2 different plots. He's got one that's 18,000 acres, and he's got one that's 12,000 acres. He inherited this. This comes back from way back, like 150 years ago. This is all family land they've had forever, and they let it sit. I think they had farmed it out, and they just let it sit for like a decade.
They don't sound like plantations. They don't sound like farms.
Yeah, well, that he calls it a farm. I call it a freaking it's a mini state is what it is, man. A little state, a township. That's even better. Because basically, between the two plots, there's basically a town. He's got all kind of equipment there. They got a little store there. They got a little bar there. They got all kind of other little stuff. I'm like, really? And he's like, yeah. He said, it's technically it's my own little town because it's on his land, and because the highway passes right through the middle of it. And I'm like, oh, well, if that's what you want to do.
Is he a king?
He thinks he's a king. I don't think his wife thinks that, but he thinks he is.
Yeah.
He's
Big head, my wife would shoot me.
Yeah, well, I've always been the poor one in the bunch, so I've got a lot of wealthy friends, but I've always been the poor one in the bunch. The only one's got any sense in his head too, because the rest of them are crazy, man. Crazy.
I'm not clear. I just made a living up until maybe the last 10 years of my life. Not even that much. Everything started paying off, and what's paid off for me the most is when everybody was going computers art. I told my wife, I said, well, I just released a big art book, and it was a Kickstarter, and it made like $300,000.
That's nice.
By the time you pay off the money and pay the taxes, we had about $100,000 left. And I put that in the bank, and I said, we got to be careful because we're going to have hard times. She said, why hard times? I am not. Everybody's going computer art. I said, I'm not going computer. I'm going to keep doing it the old-fashioned way. She said, why? I said, I don't want to do it on computer for one thing, and I think everybody's going computer. I'm going to stay original. All these kids that play D&D now, I was 20 years older than them or more when it started up, and I said now they were the smart kids. At that time, they was real brainy kids, and I said they're going to have good jobs and make a lot of money, and they want to hang original art in their house.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big gamble. I said, I'm going to take it.
No, look, I'm easy because I've talked to April about this. But matter of fact, I was talking with Echo about this last Friday. We talked about both of y'all. Matter of fact, because we were talking about dragons. Yeah. Well, we do. When Echo comes on my show, we do half of her regular art and her commercial stuff, and we do what I call her dirty art.
Yeah,
we'll just say risque art and leave it at that. Oh, but she's a painter, and I like real painters that paint in oil. It's a thing for me. I don't know how to explain it, but it's always been one of those things. I've just, maybe because of the way I grew up or the families I grew up in or some of the people we've hang out with, they have really nice art, and a lot of it's just, and there's something about feeling an oil painting. That's just old school. Don't get me wrong. I'm not anti-computer art or anything because I use it a lot all over my websites and everywhere else. But I like that. And we were talking about that, and then we were talking about people who could paint dragons in oil. Y'all's two names came up right off the bat. It was funny as hell. And some girl writes in, and she says, she goes, "Well, I've heard y'all talk about Larry. Don't you like dragons?" I said, "Yeah." And he said, I seen that video with that young lady April, and I said, okay, what about her? Well, she likes dragons too. And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, they both paint dragons. I was like. Some people can pay. And let me tell y'all something. I've seen a lot of dragons in my 100 years on the planet. And there's some good dragons, and there's some people that should never paint a dragon as long as they live. Just leave it alone. Move on. Go paint something else. Leave the dragon alone now.
Dragons have gotten bigger over the years, bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
I don't mean talking about the size of them. Now they're big as cities almost,
Yeah.
D&D, you get a smaller dragon and you get a pretty good fighters, and you can beat one. Of course, probably everybody's half dead when it's over with, but you could kill one. Nowadays, monster dragons come in. It's like you need to call the Army and the Air Force.
Oh shit! Call the Marines, man. We got a problem here. Well, no, you just call Harry Potter. That's all. See, we just circumvent that all the way around. It's
that's Justin. Wrong way.
Oh, actually, I got both their websites, so we're going to go over them in a few minutes. Yeah. No, we were talking about this a couple of weeks ago, and I forgot who I was talking. I think I was talking with Tom, and he was on for something else we were doing, and your name came up. We were talking, and he said, yeah. He says, the first time I've ever seen Joe quiet before. He said, Larry was telling stories. I was like, Tom, you was pretty quiet yourself, buddy. But no, that's a night we were up. We were at the Roosevelt night. We were in your room on the balcony talking. I forgot the little guy's name who was with us, who ended up getting a job with Tom on and off. But that was some of the greatest stories.
Oh, Dan. You mean Dan, right?
That's Dan. Yeah. And he just didn't even know how to. deal with himself getting to hang out with you and Tom Wood. He was just stunned that he was even in the same room with you. And I noticed he liked to push himself away a little bit, like we might forget that he was there. Oh, he was freaking funny as hell.
My wife says to me all the time. She said, "You never met a stranger. She, you
That's true.
treat people." I said, "Well, I actually have before." Okay. um, I like people. I enjoy people and talking to them, and
That's one of my faults.
I like fantasy too. And I
Mm.
got fantasy when I was in college as a major in art. I started doing a bit of fantasy, and my teachers just hung their head like he's gone nuts. There wasn't no such thing as fantasy really. And I was in the
Mm.
'60s, and Frazetta's first Conan cover came out. I saw it, and I went crazy. I was like, that's the direction I want to go in. I've been in
Mm.
the whole time long. I'd never seen it actually done. And so I started doing barbarians and long ships. And my teachers, instructors thought I'd gone nuts. And I thought it was straight and narrow and do abstract. I told us I'm never going to do abstract. I'm sorry. And
Mm.
and so I must have done something right because they had lined me up for a scholarship at Pratt to get a master's degree,
Mm.
all scholarship. And I said, well, that's good, but it's not going to happen. Why not? I finish up at my college. I get my bachelor's degree in the last of November, and I'm probably going to be drafted in January. I was. So
No shit.
forget about MBA. So, but it done me good. I learned a lot, and then I'm glad I was in the Army. And then went back and worked at Fort Knox, another stuff as an illustrator. Was around military a lot. General. I remember one time when a general would walk into our office or somebody high up, there would always be one or two military with the illustrators, and they'd holler, "Toot hoot." That's when an officer came in. Everybody stand. The civilians didn't have to, but we did. A lot of us was ex-military. And the guy walks in. I'm looking at his name tag. He was a general on it. It said, "Look, General Patton's dead, but here's a General Patton." And I found out later it was his son. His son was a general also. And he stopped by my desk.
Mm.
All things. This is a good little story. I'll make it quick. He stopped my desk to see what I'm working on. I was doing a job for a chaplain about birth control, and it was showing the private parts of male and female. And I was just working on this on my board. It was like if you was laid on the floor and a woman stood over top of you naked, and that's what you were seeing. Okay. So he said, "What's working on?" He looked down. He's like, "You just sort of froze." I'm like, "Oh no, I was embarrassed." I'm not doing this for the fun of it. This is a job. This is what's happening. Good work, son. Keep up that story.
Oh, I don't know, man. The world has changed.
That's hysterical.
So, instead of doing the military job, this kid's drawing porn. Fire his ass.
Oh shit. Oh, well, obviously, along the line, you learned a lot of great talents, a lot of great stories, a lot of great talents.
Yeah.
And still, I've been trying to draw for umpteen million years. I still can't draw. So somebody said you haven't gotten any better. I think I've actually got worse.
I'll tell you the trick. The trick is when you're in school for 12 years, you don't pay attention to anything they say. You draw on all your math book pages, you draw on all your social study homework, you draw on your desk, you draw on all your homework. Just don't pay attention to a word that the teachers say for 12 years, and you'll get pretty good.
If you have any children
that was my training.
18, please.
When I was in college, I'd have a test coming up, right? I'd get my notebook out. I had a notebook for every class, Get my notebook out to study my notes. I'd open it up. There's a drawing of a pretty girl. I turn next page. There's a girl. That's when miniskirts just came in, right? There's a nude.
Mm-hmm.
They were short. And there's the girl I remember sat 2 aisles over with a miniskirt. I'd have a drawing of her legs crossed. No drawing. I had no notes. Like, oh my God, I gotta go by.
Those are your notes.
Yeah. I'm in now, man. I slid through.
Well, I didn't have, I mean, you're one step ahead of me, Larry. I didn't have any notebooks. I just had bunches of paper that I would just sketch on, or I draw on my table, and I kept drawing on my table, and my teacher finally just said, "You gotta stop drawing on your table. You're supposed to write, you're supposed to do your homework on the paper that's on top of your table. Stop drawing on your table. And stop drawing dragons." For years, stop drawing dragons, pay attention. Why can't you pay attention? And I'd be drawing while they
Just should have put a dragon up on the chalkboard, and you might have looked at the board for a while while you were making the dragon.
I was first in
Yeah.
there was no dragon. I'd never drawn a dragon. And the first time I saw a dragon painted was not presented for it, was Hildebrand. They did Lord of the Rings. They do the dragon and painted that. And I'm like, wow, pretty cool. Then when I got to TSR, right off the bat, I mean, Dungeons and Dragons, I just started drawing. I looked at the old monster manual. I didn't like a dragon in there. It was really crude. That's the old. And so I thought, okay, it had pictures. This is what a black dragon looks like, a red dragon,